Wrestling Podcast. And his name is John Cena.
Doing a taper, right?
Oh, yeah. No. But you know why? Because it's Friday, February 26, 2016, and you are listening to On the Heels of Wrestling Podcast. I'm Ray.
I'm Brittany.
I am Kyle.
We're three coworkers, and we happen to enjoy pro wrestling. This podcast gives us a space to shoot all of the aspects of our favorite pastime without the confused looks we get from the rest of the office when we're talking about it on the floor.
Like we get all the time.
All time.
This podcast specifically is about giving you consistent bite-sized commentary on the world of wrestling, focused primarily on the WWE main roster. Though we dabble in NXT from time to time, or sometimes for a whole show, and we'll occasionally touch on indies and the international scene.
Yeah, so every week we're going to either recap the previous Raw, NXT, the pay-per-view, or we'll do a roundtable discussion on a particular topic. This episode, we're going to recap Fastlane. Yes. And the crazy intro to, all of Monday Night Raw.
But specifically the intro we'll probably talk about a lot.
A lot.
It was good.
It was big.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves,
yeah,
right?
let's talk about Fastlane.
Go right into that Fastlane pre-show.
All right, I'm going to start off by giving Ray a lot of shit because
Give it to me.
He printed out some notes, and he said, Kalisto versus Del Rey, solid match, but nothing really to talk about. And it's okay that you're wrong. It might feel bad, but that's okay. We'll move on together.
Don't feel bad.
I think it being on the pre-show was bad.
Yes.
I think it should have been on the main show, especially when you have something like the Wyatts versus whoever the hell else was in that match. I don't even remember. I fast-forwarded through it.
Social Outcast versus Golden Truth was the lead-up to the main event.
My argument for that placement is because the women are so good now, and traditionally that was always the women's match was the P-break match, that it's some other lower
sense.
Card match is
That
the
makes
P-break
sense.
match.
Yeah, but you could have did like the New Day face thing as the P-break match. Like
No, the New Day sells too much merch to be P-breaks.
Like they came out in 3 different sets of merch.
Arguably, you have it right here. Great time to make a sandwich for the Wyatts for Wyatts versus Titans. That could have been it.
That probably should have
Anyway,
been.
going back to Kalisto and Del Rio, so it was a 2 out of 3 falls match, which is awesome when you don't see them enough. But one of the things that was really awesome about it is Del Rio used a chair on Kalisto and on purpose got one of the falls against him, right? But he did that in a way so that he could just take Kalisto and beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And I think it was really smart and very heelish.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't ever remember seeing that done. So for that perspective, I think there is something to talk about. And I think you're wrong, right?
That's pretty cool. Also, it's weird for where's Del Rio gonna go, right?
Yeah, it's like he's tied with the League of Nations, and they're not really going anywhere. I feel like
They're gonna get evaporated soon. I think.
mean, they have
with,
to. They
with what's his name leaving?
Oh yeah, King Barrett.
Yeah, King
What's
Barrett's on
everybody's
the
name?
way out, and Sheamus.
Nobody likes him.
Not connecting like usual.
Yeah.
They're honestly, they're just thrown together, and you know, I think it's a testament to Social Outcast. Like those guys are all thrown together, but they're trying to make it work.
It works. Like they figured out that the differences in their personalities, like you've got Bo Dallas, who's the most inspirational human being on the
that
planet.
guy.
You have Heath Slater, who does not get the credit he deserves for his mic work. You have, Mike McGillicuddy, Curtis Axel, doing the whole like, I'm just a big giant dumb meathead. Like, what the hell? Blah blah blah. And it works with everything else. And then
nobody likes Adam Rose.
And nobody likes Adam Rose, and it doesn't really matter. So.
And I think everybody recognizes that nobody likes Adam Rose.
Like, they recognize it.
Yeah,
But
it's like,
they're
who's the
riffing on
weakest
that.
link? Adam Rose.
And they're doing a great job with that, and they're embracing like
Who they are.
The angle, but the angle is they're social outcasts. It's more just that they're guys people weren't as into, right?
Yeah.
Whereas League of Nations, it's like not only are they that, but they're one-dimensional nation-based characters.
It's Ivan Koloff. It's basically like, oh, I'm from not the U.S. I'm a bad guy. Like,
Right, but on top, usually when you have the nation versus nation stuff, you at least lean on, the like John Cena or Hulk Hogan character that they fight against.
The
But
juxtaposition.
they're just walking around being evil anti-Americans with no American to fight against.
Yeah.
It's weird. So it needs to go.
So I want to move into the Sasha, Becky versus Tamina and Naomi. And there's 2 things I think that are really important with this match. 1, a women's match opened the show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, opened a pay-per-view, which is kind of insane. 2, I legitimately enjoyed a match that featured Tamina.
Yeah, she's great. She's good.
I think if there's if the match is not a focus on her, if it's not like a 1v1,
Yeah.
she could potentially be good.
She successfully pulled off the pre-over-sexualization China kind of angle of like looking tough and buff and like a factor, but not too much.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that was kind of good. Naomi.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of ass-based offenses.
Yes,
Yeah, that's a
exactly.
dumb
The
move.
rear view or
She
whatever
calls
it's
it the
called.
rear view.
Yeah, I'm not
It's
a fan
dumb.
of that.
It's dumb.
Sasha and Becky are both awesome as per usual. And the other sort of highlight for me of that match is Sasha, very much like when CM Punk like organically went face. Sasha is fully in that boat now.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
especially compared to like Charlotte, who was like fully going all out heel.
Yeah.
Like Sasha, like she has to be face. People like her so much. Though she's really good at being a heel, like the crowd just isn't accepting it. They're like,
No,
no,
they're
we
not.
like you too much, right?
Yep. I think it's the crowd recognizes how good she is and just how above the bar she is than everybody else.
Like, they still chant for her when she's not in the ring, which, and I love Sasha, but I actually find that really annoying. And that's one of the things that I hate about wrestling fans, when it's like, guys, she's on the apron. She'll be in like 2 minutes.
Right.
Just let Becky do something for a bit. Like, we understand you want Sasha. Stop it. And then the moment Sasha gets in the ring, they just start checking their phones again on Facebook. It's dumb. I hate it.
Speaking of fans, according to Kevin Owens, the hometown fans loved him more in his match with Dolph Ziggler.
I would agree with that.
I love that match.
That was an awesome. We've been referencing that because of one of the many great Kevin Owens isms that you hear over him yelling it at another wrestler, and you hear it on the mic that's farther away, and you just kind of laugh because he's so good at that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love every single match. Still got to call out Michael Cole.
Oh,
Yeah.
every
Gotta call
time.
him out.
Every time.
He's doing a fantastic job. Match was great, you know.
Yeah, I love that match. I think Ziggler and Owens, for me, I could watch matches between them again and again and again.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the third time that they've fought, right?
Yeah, and it should be stale by now, but it's like literally.
It's still good.
They
Like,
can put on good matches, but
I personally think that if it wasn't for the fact that Ziggler. Something's going on with Ziggler as far as like, man, somebody in the back really hates him.
like his hair?
Yeah, well, that. But I could see them fighting for the world title and putting on a great match. And,
Absolutely.
You know,
I agree.
But that'll never happen.
Nope.
it doesn't
For
seem
Owens,
likely,
it will. I
Owens is on the path.
Yeah,
This was
but-
just a thing to keep him occupied while other storylines sort of pan out.
I
So,
love that this means we're going to get a Kevin Owens match at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing, did you guys see the video after the fact, the interview backstage where he's hiding behind the plant?
Yes.
And like, it's so
So
good
good.
because the pyro's going off for someone else.
Right.
And he's calling out to it.
Yeah.
And I think any other wrestler would have just let it happen and pretend that it wasn't there, but he built it into the context of the conversation.
Yeah, he's
and it's
super
just,
good at that.
It's one more thing that just highlights how good he is at what he
He's
does.
really good at improv. He's
Oh,
so
so
good
good.
at improv.
Good at improv and attention to detail, and that combination is what, you know, why everybody likes him. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's also slowly encroaching on that sort of Sasha phenomenon
Yeah,
we just talked
so
about.
good of a heel that he's a face.
Yeah, like people, he's already getting, you know, most of the cheers, right?
It is a scary place to be because of the fact that they don't know how to write faces.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're so awesome. We have to move you into face. And as soon as they do, they just ruin you. They don't get it. They don't understand why fans really like it. And they just turn it too much, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it's as big of a concern with Owens because he's the kind of guy that when he ends up getting a lot of cheers, he'll say something that sets off the crowd and makes them boo him again.
oh yeah, no. And both him and Sasha are good about that. But as far as like the decision to go face, that's going to be made for him.
I don't think that's going to happen. Like, they don't
They'd have
have
to
any
mute
strong
him.
heels.
They'd have to mute him.
Yeah,
right? And
which
that's
they already do to an extent. Like, he
Yeah.
does significantly less mic work now than he used to. Like,
But
when
I
he
mean,
first came
like,
out with
he'd have
Cena.
to not even say stuff in between matches, right?
Yeah, which is like almost impossible. Like, he
Right.
wouldn't do that.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, you know, again, with the Punk stuff, like when he went face, he just talked a little less.
Yeah.
And that was the way that he kind of stayed face, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just spend like 2 seconds on the who effing cares match of the Wyatts versus the Titans.
That's more time than I spent on it.
Yeah.
That is definitely more like we were talking about the pay-per-view, and Brittany was saying how it's
Sluggish.
fantastic, and we were kind of joking around about how someone we know didn't like it at all. And she's like, I can't think of a single thing wrong with the match. And I said, oh, like, well, what about Titans versus Wyatt? And she's like, oh, right. Yeah, I skipped that one.
Yeah, I just outright skipped
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
I watched it on a delay. Like, I was behind, and
Yeah.
I'm getting older. I want to go to bed in a reasonable hour, and if there's a match I can skip, it's going to be that one.
Yeah,
Totally skippable.
it was absolutely sluggish.
I don't
of
even
a match.
remember who won.
The Titans.
Yeah,
Okay.
Because the Wyatts don't win at pay-per-views.
yeah. However, it did make me think about an interesting point. It was 3v3, and I was like, who are they going to get for their fourth? And I'm like, there's no other big guys. And I'm like, oh, Titus O'Neil. Oh. Like, yeah, that was
that's
probably the plan.
definitely possible.
Cool. Well, that was more than 2 seconds. Whoops.
Yep.
Charlotte versus Brie. So, I was kind of trolling Brittany on the lead up to this one because they used her GIF.
Yes.
From the Daniel Bryan Raw, and I was like, how do you feel being an accessory to getting Brie over?
I hated it.
Yeah, and I knew you did.
It was the weakest moment of my life.
Yeah, well, hey, you don't want to be exploited for those reasons. But,
No.
Yeah, and then I was also pissed because, I mean, they started talking about Daniel Bryan's kick pads and how she was wearing those.
Oh my god, she walks out in the kick pads and I lose my shit. I'm like up from the couch, I'm yelling at the TV, I'm like, how dare you, you don't deserve this.
Yeah,
and I'm
you're-
legitimately worried she's going to win.
Right. But as the match goes on, you start to get the feeling that, oh, you know what? This has got more of like a farewell tour kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
And then you start to get to be okay with it and then like hope that that's true.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Charlotte is doing a fantastic job just being like, yes, and
Nice
mocking
heel.
Oh, I
her,
love
telling her
heel
she's going to
Charlotte.
give her concussions, like
Yeah.
all that stuff.
What was
was
it,
great.
the Raw before, she says like, you're vegan goat-faced babies.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it was so good. And then the Raw after where she comes out in Nikki Bella's top that just says champion.
Oh, I love
Like,
it.
Charlotte's doing so many little things
Yeah.
that are so perfect. Like, you almost forget that Ric Flair is still in her corner.
He's
Yeah.
been taking a back seat,
He
which
has
I
been.
love.
Like, so the Brie
They're weaning him
lost
off.
clean.
yeah.
Like, which I thought was very interesting because one, I think it kind of highlights the fact that she could very well retire. That might have been her last
Yeah.
match. The way they're kind of setting up WrestleMania, it looks like she won't necessarily be in the picture for the Divas title,
Yep.
which I'm very happy about. She lost clean, so that storyline's over.
Yep.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. Charlotte's basically carrying the whole thing. Ric Flair's just there slapping his arms or doing whatever it
Yeah,
is
yeah,
that he
yeah.
does.
Yeah.
And woo, and then that's it.
Yep.
Like,
That's right.
So I think
That's all you need.
we're getting our wish that we're seeing less of Ric Flair.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate because I want to see these things happen faster, but I think they're happening slower because they're still tied to cable TV timelines.
Yeah.
Well, there's that, and also, we can hope that we're going to get the match we want at WrestleMania with either Sasha and Becky and Charlotte, some combination
triple
of
threat.
that.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
I
triple
want a
threat
triple
would be
threat.
the best. That's
Yeah.
what we want. But even if it's one of those other two, it'd be a good match, right?
Yeah.
Um,
I'd prefer
and so they're
Charlotte
kinda-
and Sasha if
Right.
it's not a triple threat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're keeping them sort of like occupied via Fastlane, and then we've got still 5 weeks, 4 weeks, so they'll maybe converge on it. So
I think one of the problems with Charlotte is she's very stiff, mostly because she's all limbs and no body fat.
Right.
So she does best when you pair her with wrestlers who are better than her.
Right.
And that became very evident watching this match with Brie Bella because it was Brie's best match ever, but it was actually a weak match as far as Charlotte is
Oh,
concerned.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's like, as soon as Brie started selling the leg, I'm like, is that actually intentional? Like, was she told to do this? Because
Right.
it's kind of like all messy.
Yeah.
But having watched Charlotte for as long as I have, I understand this fact, which is why I'm like, if it's not a triple threat, it has to be against Sasha.
Yeah, it will
Otherwise,
be.
I don't think Charlotte will be in the best light. Because Becky's good, but she's nowhere near as good as the other two.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so AJ versus Jericho Part 3.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, I love this match.
I love heel Jericho.
Heel Jericho is fantastic.
The best.
But just in general, like not even him doing his heel stuff, he was on point, no mistakes, solid match. Like
You can tell he actually respects Styles because he went deep.
Yeah.
right?
He did.
Because he
Like-
trusted that Styles and him could put on a good match.
Yeah, he did a springboard drop kick to AJ's shins while he was springboarding himself.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a very dangerous move, and
Right.
it's again showing that trust.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
Man, he's an old man.
Yeah.
He's got dad bod going on.
Yeah, Y2J is an old man, but he is going. So I thought AJ is showing really well, but like, man, that match was a testament to Y2J.
Yeah, I agree. No, it was awesome. And then, Jericho flipped back to the, face, give the guy respect. It's all a cool thing.
Well, so I have a question. Because this was the match where we finally saw the Styles clash.
Yes.
And then Jericho kicks out of it, and AJ wins it by just doing a calf hold or
Yeah.
whatever. So it's like this is the first the move that is become famous because it broke Yoshitatsu's neck, like, and nearly killed him.
Yeah, but it's not famous to WWE fans.
It's not. So, but you could say the same thing about Hideo. Like, his thing was the GTS, and he kept building up to it and up to it and up to it on NXT, and then finally when it happened in San Jose, everyone was like, "Oh my God, this was amazing!"
Right.
Like, you could have had that same moment here with AJ Styles, and then they just chose not to do it. So, are they killing the move, or
Yeah. So in the Raw WWE-based world, a little bit like a nod to what we were talking about previously with like not really acknowledging other promotions and stuff. Like they don't build sort of that move up because it's sourced elsewhere, right? This whole AJ Styles justification of existence is through the lens of like Jericho, right?
Yeah.
So
and the Miz?
Yeah, and so like, oh yeah, he used his move on Jericho, but Jericho's, the boss or whatever, right? Whereas in NXT, they immediately say why someone is highly regarded, even if it's the first time we see them.
They don't even hold back.
And maybe it's a little bit of that, I don't know. Well, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, it would be, that move is cool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's a
I don't
great
want to
move.
see it like shamed in a way.
I don't want it to see it become a signature move as opposed to like a finisher. But WWE, again, really bad about handling these kind of things. So
But yeah, that match was great. So, New Day
yeah,
and
with
their
the-
appearance.
So they
With-
didn't have a match.
Right.
Yeah.
They were there purely to promote the Edge and Christian show, which, first off, have any of us watched it?
No.
Okay, so I don't think that segment did what it was supposed to do.
If it wasn't for getting extremely drunk one time, I wouldn't have watched Swerved or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I generally don't
But Swerve
watch
is terrible.
their other shows.
Yeah, I don't
right?
watch their funny shows, but
Yeah.
like their behind the scenes stuff is so
Breaking
interesting.
Ground was
Yeah.
excellent.
All right, that's different. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
Edge and Christian thing was entertaining just as it was. Them going back and forth because I was like, oh yeah,
Oh,
they are-
kazoo, trombone.
Yeah,
like booty, awesome.
yeah, it's everything that they're doing. Like they did get called out on all of it, and that was great. But then to introduce more heels into the mix, like the League of Nations, I'm like, oh, we're getting the face turn. And it was really handled kind of weird and poorly.
Yeah,
I don't
it
think it
was
was
weird.
a face turn, more so that they remember that they have the League of Nations and they should probably feature them in a pay-per-view if they at least want to carry them somewhere.
Yeah, but I mean, going into Raw, they are building up the New Day going off and facing the League of Nations, which again, they're still heels. So to me, I think this is the signal of we are slowly but surely getting the New Day face turn.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, I think there could be something to that. It was just weird that they decided, we talk about like being in like mid-card or low-card purgatory, right? For
Yeah.
certain people. And interestingly, they gave premium screen time to that angle and then Social Outcast versus Golden Truth.
Yeah.
So timing-wise, that was just a little strange. You'd expect maybe one of those things, not both.
Yeah.
Yes.
But since the match, was relatively short and
and they were
the
back
New
to
Day
back as
segment was
well,
there.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the point.
That's
so
a little weird.
that that combined was your sandwich break.
I would have
match,
gone like Charlotte and Brie versus then New Day, then AJ Jericho, then Social Outcast and Golden Truth.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
just-
I mean the pay-per-view was fairly
Hit and
bottom
miss.
heavy, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, for me, the pay-per-view
It started
was-
with a bang.
Yeah, there was a lot of really good matches in that pay-per-view, but like for me, a lot of the booking and storytelling was a little wonky. So I mean, not that I'm complaining. I thought it was a great pay-per-view, but it wasn't. Definitely had its drawbacks. Now getting into the main event, Roman Dean versus Brock Lesnar.
This was excellent.
Oh man, this was so much fun to watch. This was really good storytelling. It was awesome.
Yeah,
If
they're
they-
still finding ways to, have Brock not win but still be a force.
If there is anyone who is going to be put through two tables in a pay-per-view and still be standing and be a legitimate threat, it's going to be Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, the storytelling on the match was excellent.
How do you feel about Dean and Brock are just showing up Roman? I mean, he's so one-dimensional and not dynamic compared to them, and their storyline is more compelling, and proof is in the pudding. They immediately made that a WrestleMania match and feud, right? Well,
Yeah.
I think the match is official now.
It is.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
the
yeah.
end
As
Raw.
of the
Yeah, yeah.
the Raw, like
Right.
you have Brock Lesnar, the guy who is known for killing people,
Yeah.
and then you have Dean Ambrose, the guy who's incapable of dying.
Yeah, it's
And
great.
they now have a no holds barred street fight.
Yeah.
Like this is going to be insane.
Yeah.
absolutely insane.
It was, obviously they
It's
all
good.
know how the match is going to go. So it's like they decided we're going to have a WrestleMania match, so we're going to put on a great match. And Roman gets to win, whatever. Right?
Yeah, it was really weird, and we've talked about this before. Roman was doing pretty well leading up to I think Rumble, as far as the way they were building him up.
65% approval.
Yeah, and like people were starting to warm up to Roman, and like people almost like knew what was going to happen for WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Right after Rumble, this whole build-up of this match ruined.
Push it too quick. Yes, the joke I made about the 65%, just to clarify, is that, for the last year after recovering from sort of the botch of handling him at WrestleMania, they slowly built up, put him in good situations where he can get over. You wouldn't really object to it. It felt like, you know what? I could start
getting
this.
behind
I can get behind
Roman.
this.
Roman's getting over this. It's great.
No, they pushed him just a little too far. It's like they said, oh, wait, it's happening finally? Yes!
And and it was more like, oh no, it's fine, just leave it. And then they were like, let's focus on Dean Ambrose. And it's like, no, this isn't ready yet.
This isn't ready. Like, you stuck it in the oven. You have to let it fully cook.
Yeah. And
you can't
Dean,
start another dish.
And man, Dean is so over right now. Like, up until this, I was like, he's great, but like, I wouldn't, throw a title on him. Now I think I'm convinced. Like,
Dean could carry the title.
Very much so. He could totally carry the title.
He's totally pro.
I think the biggest problem with that match is I fully went into it. I didn't want it to happen, but I fully admitted that Roman Reigns was probably going to win. The issue is that when you have someone like Brock Lesnar take a couple chairs, like the way it all went down, like Roman was barely able to stand up and then whoop, just takes out Dean Ambrose. And it was very sudden and didn't make any sense with the timing and the build-up in that specific moment. So it was like, wait, this kind of just felt empty the way it ended.
Yeah.
A minute plus in a Kimura lock, and then he just power bombs his way out of it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's also a travesty that the German table was not destroyed in this whole process.
Come on now, like if you're gonna go 2 out of 3, might as well just hit the third.
Or maybe that was the whole point. Well, it's just the German suplex.
Das ist verboten.
Yeah. Also, let's also call out. Oh my God, he did do a double suplex.
Yes. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Like
that was awesome.
I I was like, oh yeah, that was a good little call by Paul Heyman to like say, oh, he's gonna stack them up together, German suplex him. I didn't actually think he was gonna do it.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
All right, it is time to discuss Monday Night Raw.
Oh my God.
Now, there had been warnings throughout the day of spoilers.
I had gotten multiple texts that basically just said, stay off Facebook. Oh my God, stay off Facebook.
Before that,
did not get any.
The speculation, unfortunately, Raw was spoiled for Ray, which is sad.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate.
Though considering the spoiler, it then kind of becomes almost happy in a way, but still.
After I watched it, I didn't care.
Yeah, because getting to have that moment, then I immediately am like, I think I typed, almost sent, and deleted like 18 different messages to you.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to basically say, please watch Raw tonight, but just by sending that
there
text...
will be reactions.
Yeah.
Like, how do you say, like, you need to watch Raw immediately
well,
before
we always
it gets
joke
spoiled?
about, like, what is a spoiler or not, right?
Exactly.
And I'm of the opinion that even saying that to you is a spoiler.
Right.
Because you know that means something
I
of importance is
assumed
going to happen.
it had something to do with The Rock, because everybody was very insistent that they tell me I need to watch Raw tonight.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's normally what happens, is when The Rock
Wow,
comes
we're doing
back.
a really good job of veiling this. Shane O'Mac was on Raw.
Oh,
That's
shit!
what we're talking about.
Yeah, I forgot to actually mention that. Yeah.
So the thing we're talking about is Shane O'Mac on Raw.
Yeah, so it was funny because I think even just 6 months ago, I was watching Raw with Steve, and he says, guaranteed, the biggest pop from any audience is going to be when Shane O'Mac eventually comes back.
Nice.
So we're watching this episode, and it's like, okay, cool. Like, I thought the award thing was going to be dumb. Like, they'd been building this up over the course of the previous Raw, during Fastlane, and I'm like, it's definitely going to Stephanie, or Vince is going to give the award himself. Like, something's going to happen.
I thought it would. There's a chance it could be serious.
Yeah, I thought it was actually going to be a serious award.
I thought it was maybe going to go to Cena or something.
I thought it'd be or like a Connor kind of thing where it's just like, oh, they're kind of having a back, like patting themselves in the back kind of we're good people moment. And then I thought, oh, you know what? If I just give it to Steph and be lame.
Yeah, I actually thought for a second, I totally thought this was a real thing, and I thought it was actually going to be them honoring somebody in the back, like production,
like what the Warrior Award should have been.
Yeah. Give it to maybe like one of the major trainers, one of the major bookers. Like, there's a lot of people that do a lot of work at the WWE that never get recognized publicly, and I personally thought that was it. And no.
So it goes to Steph. We have to be clear on that. It goes to Steph, but all the verbiage around legacy and all this stuff that Vince was saying is, the storyline hook as to why Shane can't live with this.
Yeah.
His music hits. We all lose our damn minds.
Oh my god.
He does the little
crowd.
dance.
He does the
Oh my
dance.
god, he did
He
the
does
dance.
all the things. He comes out and he gives this impassioned speech, and your mind starts thinking about, like, where could we go with this? Like, Triple H could maybe hold on to the title and be heel, and Shane could maybe wrest control and then be like the good guy authority. What the hell could happen?
Yeah, we have been clamoring for the good guy authority to really change it up because the authority running WWE, that gimmick's been, 2.5 years?
It's been going on.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, there was the start of...
CM Punk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
CM Punk.
It really
so
was.
It's been a while. Wow.
Yeah.
It's been 4 years.
Yeah. So it needs to, if you're going to keep this gimmick, wasn't it Mick Foley who said it? Like,
Yeah.
if you're going to keep this, you have to have a face be the face of the corporation.
Yeah, at least for a while.
So let's talk about the match. He's going to be
Yes.
facing The Undertaker in Hell in a Cell at Dallas. I'm calling it now.
For control of
For
Monday
control
Night
of
Raw.
Monday Night Raw. So I'm going to call it now. He's going to jump off the sign that hangs in Dallas Stadium. Because that's freaking Shane O'Mac, right?
Yeah, he's going off of something. Like,
There's
All right, I will grant that he's going off of something.
and he'll be wearing a basketball jersey.
Oh, no, it's baseball. It's the
Baseball.
baseball.
Sorry,
Shane O'Mac
sorry.
baseball
Yeah.
jersey.
A jersey.
yeah.
Yes, it's going to be fantastic.
I'm so excited for the match. I am so nervous about the outcome.
There's the match, but also how is Undertaker factored into this?
Yeah, they haven't really revealed that.
I think Cena was going to face The Undertaker.
Yeah, it was. It was going to be Cena versus The Undertaker,
Like
but then Cena.
Cena always wins.
Yeah.
You go out on your back.
Yeah.
made the
Cena
most
got
sense.
hurt. You
Yeah,
know,
Cena
so-
got hurt. He's not going to be at WrestleMania. And that was the other thing when everyone was saying, like, oh, hey, like, there's something on Raw. You should totally watch it. I'm like, is Cena coming back? Like, did he just start steroids and he's totally
No,
fine?
because like people who are getting that excited don't get that excited about Cena.
Yeah, nobody gives a shit.
Well, and that's why it was like, it was
Yeah.
throwing me for a loop because everyone
Right.
was so excited. I'm like, it has to be something that I can't even think of.
And it
fathom.
was.
And it was.
Which is great. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
almost crappy when you can always predict it.
Right. Like, these are the moments that make wrestling awesome.
Yeah.
That when you have a guy who hasn't been around for 7 years just show up and all of a sudden there is now going to be the greatest match ever. And it's
Yeah.
like, from a technical standpoint, the match could actually be dumb.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be good. But the
Right.
fact that it's The Undertaker and that it's Shane O'Mac and there's Hell in a Cell, it's going to be entertaining, whatever it ends up being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the match is going to be entertaining. There is a bad side that could happen.
Like what?
One side of it is the Undertaker wins, which is good for the Undertaker because, frankly, you don't want to ruin his legacy. You want to like he already lost to Brock Lesnar. Don't want him to lose to Shane O'Mac. Like it suddenly
You
like
can't have him lose to Shane because then Shane is on an equal level to Brock Lesnar. It doesn't line up.
yeah. I mean,
then
they
going
could
out
do-
in the back thing, so that means we're not done with him.
Like, so the problem is, like, we all want Shane
There is a
O'Mac
bit
to
of a
take over
corner
Raw.
here, right? That's basically what we're getting at. Is
Yes.
that they've kind of painted themselves in a corner, right?
Yeah.
Because The Undertaker, even in his older state, he still is a pro wrestler, and Shane McMahon is an executive, right?
Yes.
And Shane will do some crazy shit because he's awesome, but The Undertaker
is the Undertaker.
is The Undertaker, so there's more story to be told here, right?
Yeah.
The other side of it
Well,
is
we've got 5 weeks to watch it play out.
Yes.
yeah. So
absolutely.
the other side of it is Undertaker wins. That's great. But the authority face thing is now gone. And like that possibility is just like
Well, sort of. I mean, they could go anywhere. He could have some lawyer contract thing. You never.
what's
know.
in the lockbox?
Yeah, the lock. Let's actually go back to that. That was a weird way for Vince to refer to. He's like, I want you to get rid of this key you have in this lockbox over me, Shane. And it's like,
Also, did you hear Vince cussed?
Yeah.
oh yeah.
I
I'm
get
going to
to
give
be-
you an effing beating.
Yeah,
Like-
I get to give you an effing beating. That's
It was pretty good. We'll skip right to the end and kind of remark on all the blood extracted from Roman Reigns' face by Triple H.
I thought it was awesome. You guys
It
keep
was-
talking shit because it's like fake blood and blah, blah, blah. all this
Whoa,
stuff.
whoa,
It's
whoa!
like,
Hold on. I did not been talking shit.
I was
just
talking
thought it
shit.
was
Ray
funny.
was talking shit.
I was
All
talking
right.
shit. And I'll tell you
The
exactly
man's fists were red for blood that he beat from his enemy. What?
Yeah. I don't mind
This is a
fake
totally
blood.
plausible storyline.
I don't mind fake blood, all right? And frankly, I'd rather fake blood than the wrestlers do the whole cut the eyebrow bit. Because, I mean, crappy and dangerous, and you really shouldn't do it. However, that was a lot of fake blood.
Dude.
That was an immense amount of fake blood.
So Triple H came out wearing jeans
yeah.
and a t-shirt. You know he's going to wreck shit. I
Right.
felt it was an appropriate
Yeah,
amount.
I think he had the
It was
sledgehammer
justified.
too.
It
Right?
was so much.
No, it was fine.
To me, I just thought it was I thought it was funny. I don't think it was bad. I just thought...
It is comical to a sense, but you have to go over the top because now they realize that they pushed Roman, and then they've messed it up, and now they have to fix it again. So you kind of have to go in the opposite direction just as hard.
Hey, we're going back to the Attitude Era. I mean, Shane O'Mac's there, Blood's there, puppies, and we're good.
Yeah, in the storyline right now, like, Roman's not going to be on Raw. He's getting surgery on his nose.
Oh, of course.
So, I mean, like, see, this is the thing. I'm like, okay, I get that, but you're going too big with it. You just tell a good story. So that's just me.
All right, so let's see other points here. Oh, well, Ambrose, Lesnar, continuation.
Yeah.
So I thought the spoiler was about the street fight because that was kind of leaked.
Yeah.
That also put me more able to be shocked by the Shane thing because I was like, oh, it's just going to be that street fight thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, nope, it wasn't that. So that was cool, and that led to the moment of, like, we're all convinced Ambrose is dead. Well, we're not convinced, but Heyman's convinced.
Yeah.
And then Ambrose drives the ambulance to the fucking ring and crawls his ass out there to just get destroyed again.
Yeah.
So
it was awesome.
It's going to be a really entertaining match because it's going to be the Chihuahua versus, like, the Rottweiler. Like,
I wonder how, there is an ebb and flow to these things. Like, what's going to be the thing he does in the meantime to one-up Brock for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he's basically 3 of the next 5 weeks, he's going to get his ass kicked.
Yeah.
But he'll have a couple of mini victories there. Because
yeah,
that's just how it has to go.
I'm sure with Ambrose, he is really clever, especially with writers, and I'm sure they'll come up with a ton of things where he's just going to one-up Lesnar.
Yeah, or maybe he messes with Heyman. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. Probably Heyman's probably the key to it all.
They're both good on the mic. You can just have Heyman versus Ambrose on the mic for the next 5 weeks, and I think that carries you.
Yeah. So it looks like they're building up Sasha versus Becky for #1 contendership.
Yeah, that's definitely going to turn into a triple threat.
I hope so. The question is how they're going to do it. I wonder if they're going to utilize the NXT, what's been going on with Samoa Joe and Sami Zayn with, with
the whole you don't actually know who won?
Yeah.
I feel
really
like
hope not because I hate that storyline.
Yeah.
But that's a topic for another episode.
Yep.
So to me, that's my one... my one concern is how they go into the triple threat match. Otherwise, I'm with you. I want to see Sasha versus Charlotte.
Ultimately, if I can go to a WrestleMania and not have to sit through a Bella match, it's a win.
So, one weird thing I noticed when watching Raw, the New Day had a match with Kalisto and Sin Cara.
Yeah.
And who was I don't remember who the third one was. But... during their entrance, obviously it doesn't matter.
I was still so shocked about Shane O'Mac.
I think we were all just recovering.
I'm just like,
from
look,
it.
New Day's on the TV. They finally found a way for me to not care about New Day.
Yeah. But one thing I did notice was as they were entering into the ring, they're going to have a match with a bunch of faces, and they run a promo where they're faces. They're totally running a face promo. They're doing the Bootios. They're doing
Bootios!
Yeah, they're doing a total face promo.
Pink unicorn.
And yet, in the match, they're running a heel match. They are acting as heels. I'm really weirded out on the way that they're transitioning the New Day over to face. It's weirded me out. I'm worried they're gonna ruin the New Day.
I mean, we all knew this was going to end at one point or another, right?
Yeah, I know. I just didn't think it was going to be this soon.
I'm just curious how they're going to end up dropping the belts.
Yeah.
Because they do have the belts right now. Mm-hmm. And they've basically stopped fighting anyone else in the tag division because they're bigger than the tag division.
Yeah,
right.
They're going to lose the belts, but it won't be clean. It'll be against the League of Nations.
I could see that. I mean, I don't want to see that, but I could see that.
Yep.
It would be a way to quasi-legitimize the league, so...
Yep.
Yeah.
The last thing, I mean, we barely have any time, but I want to hit up on the last thing for NXT. Samoa Joe versus Sami Zayn. Did you guys catch that at all? They've had 2 matches to fight for the #1 contendership.
Yeah, the ending.
And the ending, again, twice, they no clean finish.
Yep.
I think next they're going to do a 2 out of 3 match.
2 out of 3.
This stuff bugs me. I'd rather them just, give them time to run a storyline with the champion instead of doing this weird... Unless they're going to go to triple threat, but, I mean, it's taking a shortcut for, writing. It's we'll just keep kicking the ball forward.
Yeah, well, hey, I mean... They're allowed to have their moments that aren't great too.
I honestly think that they're just trying to kill time because the next takeover they have is Dallas, and they
Yeah.
have a lot of time to kill before then.
Yeah.
Before we finish off, the rumor on the street is Samoa Joe and Finn Balor are getting called up.
I mean, I believe it. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet at this point.
Well, we're off to WrestleMania, right? Could happen then.
Yeah.
From watching a little bit of NXT, it seems to me that they are hinting pretty darn hard about the Nakamura debut.
Oh man, I can't wait.
They keep talking about how there's an international superstar who's gonna debut, and the announcement will be next week. And that was what happened on Raw, this week, or
So,
not Raw, NXT. So
I thought they were talking about Hideo.
Hideo should be coming back.
yeah,
So
but
I heard,
it
I
was
heard that his
verbiage
shoulder,
more about
his shoulder issues are acting up, and he's not actually as far along as they thought he was.
yeah.
So
it
I mean,
sounded more to me like
it's very
debut,
likely. Yeah, it's very likely Nakamura.
which would be cool.
It would be very cool.
Yep. So that'll about wrap it up for this week. If you like the podcast, you can find us on Twitter at OnTheHeelsWP and on Facebook /OnTheHeelsWP. Also, we're now on iTunes, where you can download past episodes or subscribe to future episodes.
So
So-
backdoor into this podcast.
So hit that subscribe button, like us, follow us, tell all your wrestling friends about the podcast. Feel free to tweet at us or message us random wrestling stuff, or if you have suggestions for topics that we should hit up, if you want your opinions on anything.
And thanks for listening to On the Heels. Tune into our next episode where we'll hold a roundtable discussion on the women's division in WWE and NXT. They're called divas in WWE, by the way. That's the worst. And then we'll ask ourselves a new eternal question. Will Roman ever connect with the audience?
Oh my god.
They won't let him.
It's 1 versus all, so he shouldn't. Right?
Oh,
Then the t-shirt's invalid.
Believe
You're
that.
done. You're done.
Believe that.
I'm
Sucker
done.
and suck a tag.
Beanstalk.
On the Heels Wrestling Podcast. Bling, bling, patent pocket. Take the dollar, can a damn soul stop it. Here comes the new kid on the block.